Welcome to Coach Spotlight, powered by RockDaisy, where we highlight how coaches across the country are simplifying their workflow and improving athlete performance. I'm your host, Rob McKeefrey, and today I'm joined by Rob Brokaw, head strength and conditioning coach at Casteel High School just outside of Phoenix. Rob had a chance to speak at a conference you put on, had a chance to coach with you in a room one day. Man, really excited that you're on the show.
Yeah, happy to be here, man. Anytime we get to have a conversation with you, I'm down.
Before we jump in, what's something unique about your weight room or the athletes that makes your program special?
I'm really here at Casteel. It's the schedule and the focus that they have of getting the most out of their careers here as a student athlete. So from junior high all the way through high school, we have a 6-year, physical, long-term athletic development plan for them. And that's kind of takes place in a large commitment from administration and the district, as well as just having the schedule that we need to make all those flying pieces happen. Kind of feel like an air traffic controller at times. We do have 2 certified strength and conditioning coaches on staff, myself and Coach Michaela Bubach.
Just knowing you for, golly, it might be 15, almost 20 years maybe now.
Yeah.
That goes beyond just the weight room. Kind of summarize, what are all your kind of roles and responsibilities there at Casteel?
Yeah, so here at Casteel, we kind of have a sports performance team. So we're really kind of taking a role of not just in the weight room, not just for specific sports. It's for every athlete that comes on campus. So we're developing a long-term athletic development plan. We have the technology pieces, we have the conditioning pieces, we have each and every sport has its own, unique needs and demands that we need to be met. In the past you're working at a small school, I was the wrestling coach, I was the track coach, I was the football coach on top of that. And so gaining all those experiences in the past, it kind of led to, hey, you could really focus at Casteel here on the sports performance side. And we definitely take a holistic approach to it. So we have the nutrition, we have the psychological pieces, we add in the tactics and the techniques that they're looking to do inside of their sport. It's not just squat, bench, dead. It's a lot of moving parts and trying to get everybody on the same page with that coactive model.
You mentioned technology being a part of that equation. What were some of the key challenges that you were facing before implementing RockDaisy into the program?
Yeah, so it's really just hours and hours on Excel or Google Sheets trying to figure out a way to visualize all the data that we have coming at the coaches. So they're like, well, why are we doing this? And well, how fast are they? Like, what's the fly 10 according to the 40? Like, what am I looking at here? What are we trying to improve? When do we max out? And that was always the question of everybody. So it was like, well, we do every day, and here's how we're going to do it with VBT, and here's how you're going to see this on the screen. And it would just be hours of me trying to formulate a dashboard for them to take one look at it and be like, oh, okay, they're there, this is somebody that we would like to have at this position, or they're improving, or, hey, I could use this because we have some cut sports here where they could be like, well, if they're pretty much even, but this kid is healthier, that might be help make that decision a little bit easier for them, or moreover, give everybody feedback on what they need to work on. If they don't make the team that year, they can be handed this and be like, hey, here's where you can improve at. So really those dashboards and having those up quickly and efficiently. So, the coach would be like, I want to see this. And it would, okay, I'll get back to you in a couple of days, where now it's, I'm pretty sure I could find it within the dashboards that we have in RockDaisy. And if not, I'll give those guys a call and we'll figure something out pretty quick.
You said dashboards there. Obviously I know about the dashboards, but maybe everybody doesn't. What are a couple of key dashboards that you use that you feel, help you move the needle with the program?
Yeah, so one's going to be that we kind of developed is this kind of overall, snapshot. Okay, so this would be our kind of snapshot of their KPIs that we really see are going to be the most important ones according to their height and their position. So this would be an example on the screen as a football player. He's playing D-line. According to his height, we want to see him at around 260 pounds. We want to see your jumps at the D-line position here. We want to see your speed agility. You want to be about this fat. Like, this is what we're seeing as good. And this is where we want you to be if you're wanting to be a varsity athlete here at Casteel. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean because you have these numbers you're going to play. You still need to have the technical and the tactical ability and have the psychology to push through it. But it gives a good idea as to where they're at and where their goals might be. So this kind of leads into other conversations. So right at the top, you're seeing their attendance. Like, are you showing up? Like, that's kind of rule number one. You need to be showing up to as many things as you can. How you get better if you don't show up. Two, it kind of any outside training or anything that they're doing, which is an issue that a lot of coaches have. It'll be like, hey, your bench press and your squat's actually pretty good. Maybe we need to work on more of the technical and tactical parts of you playing football. That might be what you need to spend that extra time and resources on. And just, it kind of gave a good snapshot and gave everybody, including parents, the ability to see where they're at and are they improving? Are they getting faster if they weren't? And have all those things kind of going into one screen that everybody is seeing, the stakeholders are seeing, the parents, the kids, and the coaches, and they can roll from there, make decisions from there. That Coach Boone said, leadership leaves clues. This would be one of those things that's like, here's where you're at. What do you think? Rather than me just telling them, they're more so figuring things out for themselves. They're like, well, looks like everything's going pretty good, but we're playing defensive line and, the highest classification of football out here, we might need to be bigger. I think those offensive linemen are pretty big. Maybe we should work on our size.
Yeah, I think what you said there was excellent. I mean, having a dashboard or having something that everybody can go to where you visualize exactly where you're at against yourself or against, some metrics or some standards or whatever you want to throw out there, but creating those conversations and being able to pull something up quickly. Something like this would have took tons of time to create. Yeah. That's pretty much automated now based off just kind of some back end type stuff that you've created. But I know that you mentioned, kind of gamifying this as well, a Madden type score or using things to kind of group athletes up. What are some of the dashboards that you've used to do that?
Yeah. So when we are looking at getting kids interested in training, all the kids play video games. So one of the things that we'll do or did here is using their percent ranking by athlete. We can compare them against their team. We can also compare against classes or gender or whatever you want to compare to, but you could set up basically the KPIs that you want to look at. So for our basketball kids, coach wanted to know approach, bench, how strong they are, what their momentum was. Step drop RSI is a big one for rebounds, and just kind of in general, where does everybody rank across the board? So it'll rank them in a percentile, and then the composite score is going to be basically a composite of all those scores. So based on 100%. Granted, this is against each other, not like a standard. In Madden, it would be like a standard of how tough they are or whatever it is. This is just for our team, and eventually. And this is why we have all this extra data down here. We'll be able to build our own database and be like, hey, if you're a power forward, this is the numbers that we have. This would make you a 90 in Madden terms, ratings type of deal. But right now we're just comparing against each other, which is great. Coaches are actually looking to use this for training grouping. So we were working in groups of 4 at each rack. So he's going to be like, okay, rack 1's going to be the top 4 on our composite score. Then the next 4 will be at the next rack. And then if you want to work your way up in terms of work rate and how well you're improving and doing, it could be another gamification of, hey, I'm moving up a rack this next semester because my scores are better than the kids that I'm competing against for playing time. And then if we create that atmosphere of competition within the room, it'll transfer onto the.
Yeah, I think that's a unique way that I hadn't really thought about. I mean, obviously, you kind of group up positions, you group up kind of like, like strength or like speed or those types of qualities, but kind of looking at it from a holistic approach to everything that you're testing and grouping them up that way. I think that's pretty insightful. I know making daily decisions, to me, that's the real power of RockDaisy and technology is the ability to kind of make real time decisions and give real time feedback to the athletes. What's a dashboard that maybe you're using to do that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we'd use is going to be the trend lines. So with our fly 10s is something that the kids take a lot of pride in, their ability to run fast for that top end speed. And we'll use the 20 meters or 20 yards rather into 10 for fly time, kind of that top end effort for most sports. So when they come in, we have a rotation or a cycle of exercises or drills that they'll go into, and then the test being their fly 10. So when we are looking to add or take away, or in this circumstance, we were looking at our stride length isn't the best. So kind of taking a shotgun approach look at, hey, our stride length in all is probably our lowest hanging fruit. Wall drills do some good things there. Resisted training or resisted sleds do some good things there, but we lost a gym. So we weren't able to do any of our resistance running. So instead of, every high school coach, you lose a gym, you lose a hallway. They're hauling dirt behind the school today. So I lose the bus lane that we run our fly 10s in. Stuff happens all the time. But what we did was hey, let's plug in those wall drills today and see what happens. So the kids just did a simple single switch wall drill. And that was kind of a focus for a coach, was like, hey, you're going to be here. We're really pushing against the wall. We're really driving the knee, driving the toe. And then with the feedback that they have on the trend lines of, hey, if you're in the green shaded box, that's above average. That's improving your average for the day. And if you get a green flag, you either matched or beat your personal best. So just taking a look at our team for the day, a lot of green shaded boxes and quite a few flags there for, having a day where you might have thought, hey, this could wreck our day. We actually had some really good improvement. Now, I know it's a culmination of everything that's going on, but in particular, we had some athletes that really needed to increase their stride length. And just by doing those wall drills, they ended up getting some green flags there, which was good to see. So now, going back through our programming, we're going to be like, hey, remember that worked that day. So now we could really look to maybe make that more of a staple in our program until it doesn't work. And then we're not seeing the improvements that we were. Okay, now let's take a look at what else are we needing? We need more coordinated efforts. Is there a ground contact time now? So, and eventually we'll be able to get to the point where we do this on an individual approach and be like, you need stride length, you need ground contact time, you need a little bit more coordination, whatever it is on those, those key pieces of sprint technique, and we'll be able to individualize it and see if it's working just right then and there. Because this is as they're running through their drill, we're getting that feedback instantly.
What's been one unexpected benefit to using RockDaisy that you didn't anticipate?
Coaches taking this view, like sport coaches taking these ideas and implementing them on the field and how they practice and how they're going to go about things. Because now we're all speaking the same language. We have an assistant soccer coach who's actually he's a math teacher, and he's starting a club for sports statistics. So he's having kids work on all the stats that we are putting in, and he's creating a program to where the kids are going to be able to take the data that we have here and their in-game data and see there's correlations there. So you have all this data collection all over the place, and all these jobs that are out there. So you have, the CTE, the career technical education. It builds right into our curriculum. So he's taking that and kind of running with it. And that's going to lead to hopefully us getting some GPS units on, for teams and have that availability. And even with all the tech, it still takes some people turning those things on and off, so having the kids involved there will be great. He's really taking it and running with Coach Miller. He's doing a good job getting that off and running. And then just across the board, more coaches are taking a look at the tech and seeing it as not a hindrance, like, oh, I got to learn how to do something else, to this is going to make my job easier. And that integration, kind of breaking down silos with athletic training, working with injuries, return to play. It's kind of led to some different avenues. I actually started my master's degree in sports injuries and return to play just because I'm seeing these things and I'm going, man, this is a gap that we really need to see. So it kind of pointed out, as Brett Bartholomew would say, some blind spots that we have. And if we can improve those, we could take our program to the next level.
Yeah, I thought you said something really insightful there with tying it to an academic unit or an academic initiative. And I think the benefit of using that and potentially for finding funding for some of these types of tools, especially when maybe budget is an issue. I think that's where you can write grants and you can do those types of things to be able to pay for stuff like this. What advice would you give a coach that's listening that is considering RockDaisy for their program?
I would really just say it's not too late. So like in reality, it's not too late. It's not too early. It's one of those things that you guys will find what you need just by taking a look at where you're at. So by getting in and getting all your data in one spot and being able to visualize everything, it's a great launching point to see what you need. So if you take a look at everything and you're like, man, we're just not jumping very high, then you'll be okay. Now we could look at, hey, what equipment needs do we have? What programming needs do we have? Kind of taking a really good look at where you're at currently before moving on and making other decisions in your program, from equipment, facilities, programming, everything. You got to know where you're at so that way you know how to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, Rob, I think that's excellent, man. I really appreciate you being on here and sharing how you're using RockDaisy in your program. For those of you that might be interested, make sure to go to rockdaisy.com and learn more there. So appreciate you, bud. Thanks so much for being on.
No problem. Anytime.